Allah till I drop dead. Send blessings on the Prophet and all Muslims must pray to fight Shaitan in every way. Expect mistakes along the way. Repent to fight another day. So the first thing that I have to do, now that I'm accountable in every way my actions go on, is look to see what faith demands. Have I complied with its commands? What do I think about Allah? What is correct and what's wrong? The meaning of Shahada is the first thing. There is no God for real except one and only. The Father He created and formed all the eyes. He managed the whole of the entire of the sky. Too high, I say, sublime is He, for others on and dear. And this is what Shahada means, but let us make it clear. There are conditions tied to it to which we must adhere. There's knowledge, then yaqeen, and then acceptance we hear. Then in qiyadu, then there's sidq, ikhlasu, and mahabbah. Allah we have the help of truth. And then I have to learn the things I need to do, my fardu ains, like regulations of salah. Then every Muslim must concur Muhammad is the... Now time out. You see that? That's another reason, one of the benefits of poetry. Whenever you have a poem, if you forget a part, it's known. Does that make sense? Even if you forget a word, the rhythm is thrown open, and you sit there and you mull it around in your head, or really in your mouth, until a word rhymes that you can catch. So the rhythm helps you remember the word, the term, and it helps. So again, this shows the benefit of knowing the poem. Because the poem is your outline, right? Then every Muslim must concur. Muhammad is the messenger sent by Allah, therefore we trust everything he said to us. We must obey his orders and respect the things he called haram. He brought the laws full and complete. Not one detail did he delete. All sacred laws must come from him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then I have to learn the things I need to do. No, let's do that again. And then I have to learn the things I need to do. Like regulations of salah and just how much to pay zakat. The parts of Hajj I have to do is Ramadan, and I have to. This obligates all Muslims to learn the laws and what they mean. I've sworn to do the Allah's command and not to do one thing wrong. So when I fail, I must repent before I get a punishment from up above Allah Most High before my soul is caused to die. Repentance will not be correct until I'm sad and feel regret for what I have done, and I intend not to do that sin again. And if still sinning, I must stop. All sinful deeds, and no, it's not halal to say, maybe one day. For those who think like that will find, the devil has possessed his mind. He plans to drop his soul in hell, turn to Allah, say astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh 100 times in every day. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. That's all the Muslims have to say. Okay, stop. Time out. Now look what we did. We had the introduction, right? Which in the introduction we go over our resolve that we had in the beginning of our entrance into Islam. That hamas, that firmness. I gave my word with heart and head to praise Allah till I drop dead. So we're reminded of that. And that reminder, one of my sheikhs said, how do you continuously become a good Muslim? He said, every time you think about your intention, renew your intention. Does that make sense? Tajdeedun niyyah. Think about the very first time you made that intention. Okay? Sometimes when the early man are talking about marital problems, they tell the brother and the sister, well, remember before you got married? How happy you were just to get married. Now it's this and that and the other thing. So go back and think about this. So we do that in the introduction. And then also we take some and make some acknowledgments, right? There will be mistakes. Expect mistakes along the way. And how do we get out of those mistakes? Repent to fight another day, right? So then we have to understand next that there's an acknowledgement that we are mukallafun. What does mukallafun mean? Give me the line in poetry. My actions call on. One is a definition of the other. Call it atfal bayan. Mukallafun, accountable. In how? What do you mean accountable? In every way. What does that mean? My actions call on me to blame. You see, one is a definition following the other. Okay? And then we deal with aqidah. But what do we deal with aqidah? Just the shahadatan. I shouldn't say the shahada. I should say the shahada. Tain. Okay? Or tan. Either way you want to say it. Okay? The two shahada. That's all we deal with. Just these two things. Because it's vital. Most people step over, oh, I know that. Just like that. I know that. I don't have to think about that. But when you do think about it, you realize that there's something amazing in there that you need to constantly remind yourself about. Okay? Here, there are conditions tied to it to which we must adhere. Like knowledge, then yaqeen, and then acceptance, my sweet dear. Then inqiyadu, then there's sidq, ikhlasu, and mahabba. Allah, and only Allah. We ask for help and to admit us into Jannah. So we went over knowledge. When you know it, it leads to what? Yaqeen, certainty. When you know it, you say, do I really notice it? You do more research to really know it, and that's called yaqeen. Knowledge leads to yaqeen. And then once you have yaqeen, there is what? Acceptance. Because before you act, you have to accept that this is the reality. Al-qubul. Knowledge and yaqeen, and then acceptance, my sweet dear. Then inqiyad. Inqiyad is to allow yourself to be directed by Allah. Now you can follow the orders and do what Allah said to do. Because there's some acceptance that this is the only and the best way. Does everybody follow me? And so you allow yourself to be twisted and turned. And now you say, okay, I'll make wudu. When I was younger, the older people would tell us, you have to make wudu when you pass gas. We're like, come on, do we really have to do that? Seriously. There was no inqiyad because we didn't have that yaqeen. We didn't have that yaqeen. And so there was no qubul, acceptance. Okay? Once we understood from the nusus, from the text, and really we didn't understand it from the text, we saw their sincerity. One Shaikh cried when he found us. He heard us in the bathroom talking about it, and he started crying. He said, okay, don't cry. Then he said, swear to Allah that you guys will make wudu when you pass gas. We said, okay, and we swore. Now we had to stick to it for that reason, And then from there, we learned. Sometimes someone else's sincerity, what you realize how important something is, okay? So knowledge and yaqeen, then acceptance, my sweet dears, then inqiyadu, then there's sin. So after allowing ourselves to be driven, not because we really believed in it necessarily, or because we believed in it, but now after we started doing it, we didn't know why, let's say, why we're fasting. I didn't know all the health benefits of fasting, or even the health benefits of offering salah, or getting up early in the morning, or waking up and making wudu, doing your ears like this touches so many pressure points in your body that it enlivens the whole body and warms the body up by touching just these different points in the ears like that, okay? This is scientifically proven. It warms your body up, okay? So then after that, there becomes sidq, the honesty of action. And the honesty of sidq, and then what born out of sidq? Ikhlas. Wholehearted. And you'll never leave making wudu, okay? You'll never leave it. You'll always make wudu. Knowledge, then yaqeen, and then acceptance, my sweet dears, then inqiyadu, then there's ikhlasu, and ikhlas leads to what? Mahabba, which is the highest level you can get, love. Where you yearn, you love Allah, you love the deen of Islam. So this is something that we understand here. And then Muhammad is the messenger, then every Muslim must concur. Everybody has to agree. There can't be any dissenting opinions. Muhammad is the messenger, one and only. Okay? What messenger? Messenger sent by Allah physically. Therefore, we trust everything he said to us. About what? The unseen. Okay? The four categories. What are the four categories of unseen? There's places, right? Unseen places, right? What else are them? The first one should have been unseen beings, right? Allah being on top of that, right? Then his angels. And then all those people who came before and all those that will come after and all those in the grave and all those in the Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? And then the jinn and shaitan and the dajjal, ad-daba. All these things Allah told us about. Unseen beings, right? There's beings and there's places and then what else? Events, right? And then also we have, the last but not least, unseen things like the scale, like the sirat over Jahannam, right? So alhamdulillah, like Baytul Ma'mur in Jannah, okay? The darakat, I mean the pits in Jahannam, a zakum, the tree, right? All these unseen things, right? The hint of our doom. Doesn't we talk about that? Because we're talking about the qadr as well. And the ayn, those are unseen things too. And sihr. So, then every Muslim must concur Muhammad is the messenger sent by Allah. Therefore we trust about those things we just mentioned. Right? So the poem is just an outline to make us remember these particulars about our deen. Okay? We must obey his orders. He brought the laws full and complete. So there's nothing hidden. So no one can get caught out there in some cult and say, I got the secret knowledge that it was not told to everybody. The Prophet brought the law full and complete, not one detail did he delete. Okay? We must obey his orders and respect the things he says. All sacred laws must come from him. So I cannot make up sacred law. That's what has to be understood. Sacred law is law that is inviolable. Okay? We have to, what is written is, what is forbidden is written. If someone says it's haram, there has to be a nas. There has to be a text. Remember that rule. What is forbidden is written. And all ibadah is clear. What does that mean? When we look at that, I said, when we talk about fiqh, we have to put it in light of what? History, right? I said all acts of ibadah are what? Clear, meaning they're clearly told to you in the Sharia. When was the Prophet born? When was, what's the date? There's so many, we don't know. Some say the 8th, some say the 10th, some say the 12th. There are so many different days that are given. Okay? The ulama say this is a proof that it's not an act of ibadah. Just that alone. Because no act of ibadah is there any obscurity about it. What about Yawm al-Arafah? Is there any obscurity about it? No. What about the Muharram? Okay? Is there any obscurity about it? No. Musa, we don't even know when it was when Musa was, but we know when he got saved and when Muharram is, right? No. The 10th of Al-Ashura, I mean by that. No. Does everybody follow that? So this is, they said, a qati, and there's a clear proof that it's not an act of ibadah because of all the obscurity, all the different aqwal, statements about when he actually born. And no, most people think they know the date, but what's the date most people say? They say the 10th, I think, right? A lot of people, 13th or something. They have the 12th, you know. But the date that most of the ulama say is the 8th. You know? And said most people that don't do it, they always talking about the 10th and something like that. So, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, he brought the laws full and complete, not one detail. All sacred laws must come from him. Sallallahu alayhi. Okay, and from that we can learn if there is something that is an act of ibadah, clear, and it's obscure, then there's going to be ikhtilaf there. That means you have choice. For example, what do you do when you rise up from the ruku'? Okay, now what do I do? Do I put them on my side or I put them over in my chest? Now you follow the imam. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. You follow, because breaking with you're supposed, the imam is to be followed, right? But what about the ladies? They don't get to see him. Okay, well then you do what you do. Okay, you get my point? No, well, that's another issue, but listen, the point is that the issue about where do you put your hands is obscure. There is no clear. Yes, sir.
Well, I was going to say, if you 3 rows back.
Same rule.
Okay.
Same rule.
That's why I wanted to
You know, if you can't see him, then you follow the teacher that taught you. If your teacher told you come up and put your hands on your chest, then you put your hands on your chest. If your teacher told you come up and put your hands at your side, then you put your hands at your side. Why? Because all of them are correct. Okay? How are both correct? The truth is one. Not necessarily. Okay? Some things Allah has not told us. You know, He hasn't given us all the knowledge of that thing. Rahmatan. Out of His mercy. So that why? Because all the hadith are either weak or are vague. And when he stood up from the ruku, he put his hands back where they belong. Okay? So where do they belong? Some said, well, when you stand up, you put them on his side. That's where they belong. And others say, no, when you stand up in salah, you put them on your chest. That's where they belong. So both of them have clear, good arguments. The Hanbali madhab said, we're not going to deal with it. Do what you like. Put them on your side and put them on your hand, on your chest. You know, does that make sense? Yes. Aywa, alhamdulillah. So again, whenever there's obscurity, there is choice. And you can't be judged to be incorrect. Does everybody follow me with that regard? No. Same thing, where do you put your hands in the salah? Do you put them here, 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 here? Where do you put them? Okay, you can do or over here or like that. All of those are correct. Even this one. Where people say, oh, well, those crazy Hanafis. No, they're not crazy. In fact, their statement is the most one spoken about. It's the unanimous decision. According to the Fuqaha, and it's written in a Tirmidhi. Putting it right here on your belly button is the one that has the unanimous agreement of the Fuqaha in the time of a Tirmidhi. Rahimahumullah. Does that make sense? No. So we said, but the chest is here. Stop using your mind and follow the sunnah. Ali said, if the rule was by your mind, where would we wipe when we make wudu? Underneath feet. We would just wipe the bottoms of our feet. But he said, I swear I saw the messenger of Allah wiping over the top of his sandals, wiping over the top of his foot. Okay, and that's the narration we got where we wipe over the top. Do you guys follow me? We don't use that when there's a nusus, when there's a text. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we go from there. As soon as we finish the Shahada, because it's a beginner text, we don't get into a whole bunch of other issues of Aqidah. We deal with this basic idea. What is supposed to be understood from the Shahadatain. Then we move on to the Fardu Ains. And you notice we just mentioned them, right? And then I have to learn the things I need to do like regulations of Salah. That comes right next, right? And just how much to pay zakat. The parts of Hajj I have to do is Ramadan and I have the flu. This obligates all Muslimin to learn the laws and what they mean, showing that we are now wajib. Right? Talabul ilm is faridatun ala kulli Muslim. Seeking knowledge is an obligation. Why? Because we've sworn to do Allah's command and not to do one thing haram. So if it's obligatory for to do this thing, then learning how to do it is also obligatory. You guys follow me? No. Hence learning Arabic. Right? No. Because if it's obligatory for you to read the Quran and it's in Arabic, and reading it wasn't the only order, it said Iqra, and Iqra meant read and understand and apply, right? And not only apply, but teach it. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. And leave the legacy of truth behind you. Then you have to learn it in the language it was presented in. So now that makes it an obligation to learn Arabic. Does everybody have to be a PhD in Arabic? No, but you have to learn enough for you to understand on your own and not for someone else to come and tell you the basic linguistic meaning of it. Now the scholars will do that, start there, but that's only to remind you of our starting point. And then we build from that point on. Does everybody follow me? That's what this obligation. What is our obligation for knowledge? Obligation to study knowledge, okay? Obligation to study. Okay? And this is building back on what we started in the first intro, right? In the intro we said all Muslimin must study. Okay, so the first thing we did, all this is just a build-up from the intro. I gave my word with heart and head. Here it goes. This is my word, the Shahada. To praise Allah till I drop dead. Here it goes here with acts of ibadah. Right? And then we said, as Muslims must study and pray. Here goes the obligation why we have to study and pray. To fight shaitan in every way. Expect mistakes along the way. Repentance, right? Repent to fight another game. So it just goes through to explain what we did in the intro. Does everybody follow me? Then we get to this first chapter. The first chapter is Tahara. What's the chapter? Tahara. As babies we were. So toilet rules should not be strange. Make dua and with left step in. No reading, writing, or texting in. Right? Squat the way the prophet taught. Then water and the left. Relieved and clean, with thanks we pray, Gufranak as we walk away. That's clear. And the prophet taught us how to squat, when we can't, don't have to because of the different circumstances we're in. Does that make sense? Then water and the left is sought when it's possible. So we're doing it in a general way. Again, the poem is to remind. Okay? And didn't I tell you guys know most of this stuff anyway? Oh, y'all know this whole thing right there. Do we have to talk about anything there? Uh-oh, better not rush in. Better think about Allah, because there might be some jinn. Say, A'udhu billahi min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. I seek refuge in Allah from the dirty, nasty jinn. So we had the head, I think it was called the head detective. That's what I think it was. He was, in the Muslim world, the police, the shurafa, or the sharif, what they call in English, the sheriff, where they get that term from. He used to wear an imama, and he would put a feather in it, okay? A big feather so people wouldn't recognize that this is the popo, okay? So in this program we were doing in Egypt, for the Egypt cable, we had this guy, we built him like a mascot, like a football mascot or some team mascot. It was like a big potato head, but we made the imama come up, right? So he didn't have any eyes. Does that make sense? And then he had the feather like that, and it's his arms and legs, okay? And he's working out the children, and one of the children says, and the hajj, I have to take care of a private need. And he says, tafaddal. And the child gets ready to run into the bathroom. And the bathroom is dark, and his eerie eyes, he's got cobwebs and stuff like that over it. And then the guy jumps like, uh-oh, better not rush in. Better think about Allah, because there might be some jinn. Say, A'udhu billahi min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. I seek refuge in Allah from the dirty, nasty jinn. And then he's there, it's me and a bunch of other guys with, uh-oh, better not rush in. Better think about Allah, because there might be some jinn. Say, A'udhu billahi min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. I seek refuge in Allah. Okay, so, and after that I had to quit, because then they wanted me to do the whole thing in English. They wanted to go to take a program, for me to write a program that was taking the Arab world into English. Did you get my point? Yeah. And I was like, hold on, that's the opposite of what I want to take my people and bring them into Arabic. You're twisting my idea. And they said, nah, do it this way, or, you don't got to tell me twice. And so I hit the door, okay? So that was the killer skit, you know what I'm saying? So we use it here. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Let's do it again. Uh-oh, better not rush in. Better think about Allah. This is the serious, and we know there might be some jinn. We know there are jinn there. The proof is the Prophet ﷺ told us that there are jinn in the Baytul Khala, in the hammam, in the place. And there are jinn that are filthy, okay? And the word for filth, this type of filth is khubthi wal khaba'ith, okay? It's just the filthy individual, not like just dirt, but just any type of the worst type of filth you could think. Okay? And we know what goes on in the toilet room anyway. Okay, so
males and females of jinn.
Now, male, female jinn. Both male and female, shayateen. Female and male devils. And we don't know how they harm us. Do we have to know? No. Tawakkal Allah. We trust on Allah. Okay, wa hasbun Allah. Sufficient for us is Allah, right? As a wali, okay? As a sadiq and a nasir, and the one to help us in all our affairs, okay? So, say, A'udhu billahi min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. And this is what we're told to say, A'udhu billahi min al-khubthi. And I wanted that to be part of it because people seem to have a problem with learning Arabic dua, okay? So we put it there so it can become easy for the people to say, just like we did previously. We said, what did we say in the last poem with Taubah? Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh 100 times in every day. Astaghfirullah wa atubu. And there's two dua. You can say astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayh. But I chose to say astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh to make it a ta'keed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, that we're referring to Allah. In this one we say, A'udhu billahi minal khubthi wal khanna. Tawaqafi. Min al khubthi wal khaba'ith. I seek refuge in Allah from the dirty, nasty jinn. And that's what they are. Nasty, filthy jinn. Now we move on. That's not it. We're not done. Now, what we're dealing with, Tahara, are really basic things, right? We're dealing first in how to use the toilet rules, right? Yes. Then, after the toilet rules, the rules are not done without the dua. Then we make the dua that you have to make before you go in. Now, what else do you have to do?
Come out.
You just use the Baytul Khala. What do you need?
You put first your left right. Water.
You need wudu. Okay? Go to the next chapter. The next chapter should be the chapter of wudu. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So in this one we say Bismillah and wash my hands once or twice and 3 times and wash my mouth, then blow my nose, then wash my face. That's how it goes. I wash my arms until they, then wipe my head and wash my ears inside and out. Go up and down till there's no doubt. Then make sure that I wash my feet. Wudu's complete. Did you see how we did that? Now, I've been teaching this text for a while, and every time you teach it to children, you'll see them or hear them in the bathroom saying, say Bismillah and wash my hands once or twice and 3 times and wash my hands. And they'll do it, and you say, SubhanAllah. It works. Now, most of us, we don't need to learn this, but you do need to learn it for your children and your grandchildren. These are the nursery rhymes to replace the trash nursery rhymes that we had the sorry affair to have to learn. Humpty Dumpty and all that other nonsense that has no, intellectual value. In fact, it pulls away from our own social placement in our own hearts. But this has true traditional value. Okay? So we learn it. And I'm asking you to learn it so you can teach it to small children. Bismillah, not Bismillah. Say Bismillah. What is the Bismillah? Bismillah is the Arabic term, abbreviation for Bismillah. In Arabic, we don't say, let me pen, toss it to me. Shukran. In Arabic, we don't say, say the Bismillah. No, that's not how we say it. We say the Bismillah. Say the Basmala. Say it. Basmala. That is an abbreviation for Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Say Hawqala. That's to say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Does that make sense? Hamdallah. Say it. That's to say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All these these are abbreviations in the Arabic language. So when I say Basmala, it's indicative of say an abbreviated form, Basmala, to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Okay? Tafaddal, Shaykh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام. Okay, so now we're dealing with wudu. The basmala is an abbreviated statement to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We call it the basmala. Okay? Not with the two fathas. Basmala, not Bismillah.
What was the other one?
There's a number of them.
No,
Hawqala.
the one you said. I'd like
I
to
said
know.
hawqala. Hawqala. La hawla wa la quwwata. Hamdala. To say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay? So what the point here is for us to understand that when he says say Basmala, he's not trying to say Bismillah. He's saying say Basmala, means say the Basmala. Okay? Indicative of a term. Okay? نعم شيخ أردت أن تقول شيء أنت
حسبنا
حسبنا لا أنا ما أردت وأنا أدرسهم كل هذه الأشياء يعني يعود الدرس إلى يعني اللغة شفت أيوة الحمد لله. So he wants you to know the Hasbi Allah, Hasballah, to say Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. And there's so many of them that are used as abbreviations to remind us to say that. Okay? Does that make sense? And Hasbi Allah Hasballah is very, very important. Very important statement to say. Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. To remind, it's a statement, a dhikr of acknowledgement. Okay? And so what it does is it firms you up to remind you that sufficient wa kafa billahi shahidan, right? Allah is enough for the believers. Okay? So say Basmala and wash my hands. Say it.
Basmala, wash my hands.
How many times?
Once, twice, 3 times.
The person has choice. He could do it 1 time, he could do it 2 times, 3 times, and what else?
Wash my mouth and blow my nose.
Right, the blowing the nose is important except for in Ramadan. Outside of Ramadan or when you are fasting, you're supposed to blow with strength. Okay? But do you have to tune the water in and at the nose? Or can you do one, throw, and then do the nose? You can do either one. Okay? Sometimes we try, I think because of colonialism, when I study colonialism from a social dynamic, it has restricted Islam. Why? Because the kafir colonizer, he wants to see who's trying to expand Islam. You get my point? And he wants to yudayyikuha. He wants to make it in as small as a picture as possible. Okay? So that people would forget. How do you cut people away from their deen? You make them forget their history, right? You make them forget their traditions. And Islam is wide and expansive. Okay? There's a lot of room in it. So it says, hey, if someone starts to recite in another qira'ah besides Hafs and Asim, let's look into him. He's trying to expand the Quran and spread the Quran. We don't want the Quran to be spread like that, right? People might get inspired. You know, if someone starts to read outside the 6 books of the Sunnah, oh man, he might be, those books are shaky, doubtful, if they want to push these mentalities. Or you have to do it one way. No, you don't have to do it one way. You don't. Maybe one narration may be sahih. If the other one is acceptable, then it's acceptable. That's what the language says, right? Yeah. The law says it's acceptable. The one doesn't make it stronger or better than the other one. It makes the narration better, not the action. Does that make sense, what I'm saying here? Okay. So, you can do either or. In your mouth and your nose at the same time, or in your mouth, spit it out, and put it in your nose and spit it and blow it out. When you're fasting, you blow lightly. Does that make sense? Okay. And Allah knows best, but what I found that when you blow hard, if you're fasting, you could start bleeding. Okay? You're more sensitive in that regard. So wash my hands 1 or twice, 3 times, and wash my mouth, then blow my nose, then wash my face. That's how it goes. And where's your face? Your face is from your hairline to your chin, right? All the way to your ears, right? And why is it we say all the way to the ears? Because the ears are part of the head. Does that make sense? The ears are part, so you go to this area, okay? So it is another important thing. Again, we talk about the deen of Islam. What's the sunnah in Islam for men to wear their kufis or their headpiece is from their hairline up, not like this, okay? And it's from the sunnah for women to wear theirs on their eyebrow line and not like this. وَبِضِدِّهَا تَتَبَيِّنُ الْأَشْيَاء. Aisha radiallahu anha, she used to instruct the women to wear them on her eyebrow. on their eyebrow. And that's why you see in Egypt, sometimes they have those ones, and sometimes the Pakistani, they have it like that so that you, so it covers that area. And the kuffar notice, you know why? Every time a woman goes to go take a picture, what do they tell her to do? Lift it up, right? Pull it back. They're doing that to expose our ladies. You know, they take every opportunity to do so. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and it's the same thing with the legs. When the ladies are supposed to be longer, the men's are supposed to be up. There's different adab for the different sexes. And these are the things from the muru'ah of the men and the ladies. Okay? The chivalry of the men and ladies. Not to look like the other or follow the rule of the other. But when we don't know these things, we look and act like fools. Okay? And it takes away from the dignity. And Islam has come to prioritize my deen, my mind, my honor, myself. Does that make sense? Allah is Jamil, yuhibbul Jamal. Allah is beautiful and He loves us to look beautiful as well. Look like somebody's, right? When you look like somebody, you act like somebody, right? We've seen a whole bunch of people that don't look like nobody. And what do they act like? Nobody. So, you know, we gotta, you know, live that rule. When they told Abu Hurairah, he used to wear a lot of oil, you know, that smell good. And he said, because the senior Sahaba told him that you're gonna outlive us, we want them to know that somebody is coming. You know what I'm saying? That, hey, who is this guy? He used to dress nice and wear oil so that you can smell him before you see him. He must be somebody. Yes, because he's carrying the hadith of the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's the effect that you want to have when he come in the room. He says, whoa. One time I was on a plane crash, and I'm in the plane, and the plane started going, they said, we're going to crash. The lady next to me is an old white lady. She said, I'm not worried, because somebody like you was sitting next to me. You know? And it don't look like you're going to die today. You know what I'm saying? That it proves that in a hardship, they know the truth. You know? Because, you know, I was in my thobe, turbaned up, and, you know, alhamdulillah. And nobody got killed. Nobody even got hurt. We just crashed. Alhamdulillah. Yes, sir?
A question about the hands at the beginning. Are the hands considered part of, you have to do the hands first, or should the arms and the hands be at one?
No, the hands have to go first. There's a reason for that, okay? We have to go back to why do you use your hands first? Excuse me? No, not to clean your hands. We're not taking a wash. We're not washing up. This is not to wash up. This is an act of ibadah. You can be dirty. Don't you pray if you're in battle? We have the hadith where the Sahaba offered salat, he got hit with arrows, showing that blood does not break your wudu. Okay? We do it to make sure the water is pure water. We're palpating to test the water. That's why we put it in your mouth, to taste it. And why you put it in your mouth? To smell it. Because if it smells, it has water, you know, what do you call it, perfume in it, or if it tastes like it got oil or it feels like it got oil, then it's not water, is it, right? These things take away from it being water. That's why you do the hands and the mouth and the nose first. Does that make sense? No, it might be Kool-Aid, right? It may look like water, but it might be, what's that stuff? They throw bleach in people in California, in Canada. What's the other place? Britain. They go and they rob a bank with bleach. Okay? They go in there with bleach. I thought it's bleach on you, and they give them, hey, take the pounds. Go there, Mike. But, you know, bleach looks like water, right? Till you touch it, and it's what they call wet. Till you smell it, and you know. Does that make sense? All right. So, say Bismillah, then wash my hands once and twice. Knowing why you're doing these things is important. It was a beautiful question. Because a lot of people they miss that whole point about the fiqh of why we do what we do. And then, of course, when you're making a ghusl, then you wash your private first, and then you wash your hands, because you can touch the rest of your body. Does that make sense? All right. Say Bismillah, then wash my hands. Wash my mouth, then blow my nose, then wash my face. I wash my arms. Then wipe my head. So we have to wipe our head and back again, okay? Wash my ears. Inside and out. So we start on the inside. We go around and then we go out. Go up and down until there's no doubt that we left any place untouched. That's what there's no doubt. Till no doubt till we got everything. And if you need to get more water, then get more water. Don't be cheap. But don't be a water waster as well. Some of the ulama said you can tell the intelligence of a person by how much water they use. Okay? And the Prophet said in the latter days you're going to find people wasting water. They're so wasteful they even waste water. And a lot of times you can make wudu out of a cup. I mean, and if you notice, try this at home. This is an experiment for Fiqh. Take a little bit of water and make wudu. You'll get wetter than if you turn the water on and let it run and start doing your waste all that water, and you'll still be using water to try to get every place. But if you just take a little bit, half a cup of this type of cup, let me see that. This amount of water right here, I could make wudu and wash my feet. Okay?
All over again.
What's that?
Not use it again.
Well, I might drink it afterwards, but I could do it 3 times with this. I've done it lots of times. There's a couple videos out there. I put the thing out there and I make wudu with a little cup. I'm not gonna do it tonight because we have the time for salah's coming up right now. Well,
So
there it is.
doesn't have to be running water then.
No, it's not from the sunnah to use water and water. They're in the desert. Where do they have running water? The sunnah is to use a cup. That's why you find in Maliki Fiqh, they say it's mustahab to use a cup. And in all the masjids, they have cups. Okay? So it's not from the sunnah to run the water. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallahu khair. We finished the chapter of Tahara with that. Is that okay? My ankles washed. Wudu's complete.
حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة